Please welcome to the stage our next speaker, Steve Boulos, and his thesis, The Fight for Financial Freedom, Why All Christians Should Desire to Be Financially Free.
In his young career, Dave Ramsey seemed to have it all, but he lost it all. $4 million in his real estate portfolio, gone with the blink of an eye. The real estate market crashed in 2008. And now, Ramsey was left with over $1 million in debt. Most of us would expect that Ramsey would not be able to recover from this. But fast forward to the present, Dave Ramsey now has $200 million in net worth. How is he able to recover from such a catastrophic event? After hitting rock bottom, he realized he must manage his money for not himself, but for God, becoming a steward of God's given wealth. Although Christians may think that pursuing financial freedom will consume their lives, I argue that Christians should desire a life of financial freedom. It leads us to becoming closer with Christ, obtaining virtues, and using our wealth for others rather than ourselves. So, what is financial freedom? Financial freedom is carrying zero debt, being a steward with your God-given wealth, and using Christian ethics to get to this point. So, how do people like you and me become stewards of God's wealth? Before all this, we need to show God that we are competent enough to obtain his wealth. We must be wise with the money that we already have and use Christian ethics to show trust. For an example, tithing is when you give around 10% of your daily income to others who could benefit off of this. This could be giving away your money to health institutes, charities, and homeless shelters. In addition, we must be disciplined with our money in order to obtain some virtues. Someone who's already been on this financial journey is my thesis advisor. He states that we must be disciplined with our money in order to obtain some virtues. He uses a clear example of this. So him and his wife decided to go buy a car. The car was out of their budget, so they said no. The following day, they found the same exact car that was in their budget. This shows that when we learn how to say no to things, God will give us the better opportunities in the future. While obtaining the discipline, we are able to inherit the virtue of temperance. Temperance is when we are avoiding temptations that will make us lose our financial goal. Now, how are we able to establish stewardship properly? Stewardship biblically means that we use God-given gifts and share them and manage them wisely. So, transferring this to a wealthy steward, we must give others our wealth, show others how to properly obtain this wealth, and be responsible with our own wealth. Finally, we must build on the last financial tool, generational wealth. What is generational wealth? Generational wealth is when you build your own wealth for not yourself, but for the people you love most, your family. So my kids don't have to work as much as I did. And as stewards, we teach them how and properly be responsible with our wealth. And they will carry this journey for years to come. As stewards, it may seem hard, but if we're trustworthy and we are responsible with our wealth, it may be easier than we may seem. Unfortunately, not everyone sees eye to eye on this claim that Christians should be financially free. The most common objection of this would be, how are we able to seek our financial goals and able to maintain faith? This may seem hard at first, but if we are able to stay committed and abide by our budget and set boundaries, we will be able to make our financial dreams become a reality. In The Legacy Journey, written by Dave Ramsey, he states that budgeting is our number one wealth-making tool, as well as if we want to use a financial plan to get to this point, we could, but Ramsey abides this in his book as well, that we should not trust our financial plan because wealth is uncertain. He believes that we get wealth from wisely managing our money and believing that God will give us this wealth. So, how do Christians like you and me still maintain a proper faith? While we are practicing this financial plan, we must still manage to seek Christian practices. And if we don't, then God will take away our money just like Dave Ramsey did with his money. And in order to be successful with our money, we have to practice Christian ethics. Being stewards of God's wealth is hard, but if we're able to practice proper stewardship and Christian ethics, we will still see our end goal. To conclude, all Christians should be financially free. We will attain virtues such as generosity, temperance, and charity, and we become stewards of God's given wealth. When we are financially free, we live a life that is better than the previously, as well as we spend more time with the people that we love most. It doesn't matter when you start financial freedom, the sooner, the better. It doesn't matter what type of financial situation you're in, working minimum wage or making 6 figures a year. Don't wait, start your legacy journey today. Thank you.